Hi guys, welcome back to another digital art tutorial. This is going to be on doing coniferous trees, and this would be like your pine tree or your fir tree or cypress or whatever. Generally speaking, most pine trees and such have a very conical growth pattern. That means they look like a Christmas tree pretty much. Yes, that's pretty much the best I can describe them as. They're very triangular, very straight. Most of them will form an isosceles triangle, which is like that. Also, I forgot to mention this in my other one because I was going kind of fast. Trees will grow based on necessity, which means a tree that is growing on a mountaintop will probably be a little more squat and tiny than a tree that's growing in a very nice, well-soiled, I guess you could say, forest. For instance, the Muggo pine, which is a mountain pine, I don't have a picture of it right now. They live up in the mountains, and they're really short. I've rarely seen Muggos that top 10 feet because they're so tiny, and there's oxygen deprivation. You need to keep that in mind. Keep in mind the species when you're painting these trees, and I'm going to be doing a general fir tree. I'm sorry if these videos are laggy. I had to take the frame rate down. Alright, what I do to make these trees is just really fast and not, really paying a lot of attention to detail. Come in here and just kind of fill out this. And this is going really fast, and you're going to have to come back around and erase stuff, obviously, because sometimes it just doesn't work. Generally speaking, though, yes, you can be random with this, but it also needs to have a little bit of reason to it. These trees need to taper towards the bottom of the trunk. That's pretty obvious, actually. If you're too meticulous about it, it will end up looking really bad. And I can afford to spend more time talking about this because these don't generally take as long as deciduous trees. If you are too meticulous about it, it will look like that, and you will not be very happy with it at all. So be kind of random about it, but have a little reason. This is going to have to be a little taller, because I made it too squat. There. That's, like what we have. Now, ideally, we would have an undercoat of a color, so it wouldn't have this ugly white just sort of showing through. I don't have an undercoat right now because I would talk about that later if I did another tutorial about proportion and color theory, but we're not doing that right now, so this is what you get. Now what we're going to do is start highlighting, and again, when I'm highlighting green things along with brown things, I'll move towards the yellow side of the spectrum. That is just for general color theory. It makes it more dynamic. I'm turning the opacity down for this one because, well, I just want to turn the opacity down. When you're doing these, depending on what kind of tree it is, obviously, don't, just highlight these outside boughs. Make sure you do sort of the inside ones too. That makes it appear as though there's boughs coming towards you. Now, of course, you could add snow to this or whatever. Snow is actually really simple. You would just take and draw the snow on and pretty much do the same thing as you would with the highlights. Highlight the snow and you'd be good. What I'm going to do now is just do some very small secondary highlights. Again, establish a light source. I'm going to have the light source coming from here again because that's sort of what I'm used to. And because I'm trying to get through this kind of fast. You probably should have established the light source earlier, but I wasn't smart and I didn't come up with that first. Alright, what you're going to do now is go in with like black, because I use black when I'm doing contrast work and everything like that, and I'll show you why. It's going to look pretty stupid for the first, 30 seconds of it. But it'll actually, lend itself very well to this technique I'm going to use. We need to make the brush bigger because it's not going fast enough. Alright, so we have this, and we're going to blend that out a little bit more because it's kind of eyesore at the moment. Also, I made this first highlight a little too yellowy. That's just human error. Sorry. You don't probably want that yellow. I'm sorry. Okay. If you were doing a distant tree, you probably wouldn't do this many highlights and everything, just because it probably wouldn't look very good to have something just sort of in the background, but have it so detailed. If you're having stuff like far off into the background, don't detail it as much. It will look really bad, and people will notice, so keep that in mind. Trying to keep track of the light source a little bit better, because I wasn't doing that earlier either. Alright, so now what we're going to do is go in with more highlights, a bit smaller. Kind of almost like you're doing fur, like in my old fur tutorial. You would come in here into these darker areas and just make lines. That will make it appear as though there are boughs of branches coming towards you. Alright, the finishing touch I like to do is make the brush really small, and that's too harsh actually. Make the brush kind of small and get the right color, and just make little striations, I guess you could say, in the branches. This makes it appear a little bit less like just clumps of color and more like what it should be. You don't need to be too precise on this either. This is just something I choose to do. You don't even have to do this if you don't want to. This is just something I will do in a lot of cases, especially on close-up pines. Far away ones I will not do this. Certain species I will not do this either. But then again, that's just something you'll have to look at with references. This is really sloppy. Same like with the other one. These are all going to be kind of sloppy because I am on a time limit and I do not want to blow that time limit. Okay, there's your basic coniferous tree. On certain times of the year, I don't remember what times of the year these things produce cones. You will either draw in candles, which are let me show you really quick. Okay, let's say that this is a branch on a pine tree with needles. You'll have, I think, during the spring to, from the summer, I don't remember when they produce candles, but they will produce candles, and that will be the next year's growth. And you will also have cones on the tree. You need to keep that in mind. Keep in mind the growth cycle of the pine. I can't think of it right off the top of my head right now. So yes, there's your tutorial on how to make a fir tree or a pine tree or a cypress or whatever. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial.